Innocent Until, what's going on? I just picked up 2 books, man. John Grisham, The Whistler, and Jeffrey Deaver, The Kill Room. That's not what y'all came in for. Let's get to it. According to Ann's explanation for why her investigators need access to the IgG information, the limited IgG information that her and her team have been given access to. Wait for it. Same damn reason Bill's investigators need access to the information. The hell is we talking about here, man? According to the state, the reason that they objected to the investigators having access to the information is because the investigators weren't named, I guess, in the request, in the order or whatever, in the petition. Basically what I hear when I hear Ann say that, especially when she further goes on to say, hey, I have no problem naming them, but this is why I didn't name them. And then she goes on to mention some previous orders, court business, litigation business that they did together with the prosecution, where this same thing happened and the names weren't mentioned in the prosecution team. The state had no issue with it. So what I hear when I hear all of that, man, is it seems like to me, man, once again, the state is playing games. Like, really, you're going to object because of some names? Okay, cool. No problem. Maybe, I don't know. I keep telling y'all I'm not a litigation expert. I'm not an attorney. So maybe that is a valid reason to object, right? Now when Ann stands up and tells you and the court in front of the world that, hey, if your problem is that their names aren't here, they've been involved in the entire process. I don't have no problem telling you what their names are. I just didn't because it's been plenty of times we did some business like this and names were left out on both sides. But if that's your issue, it's no problem. I'll put the names in there. So therefore, now we should have no problem with the investigators being involved in the case. But as we will see as this hearing continues, there will be a problem with them being involved in this particular part of the case because the state is still going to push back against Ann's investigators having access to this IgG information. They conceded that her experts could have access to the IgG information, but they pushed back on her investigators. Now, remind you, their initial excuse, and they're still using this too as a prop, for not wanting and the defense to have any other IgG information, period, if I remember correctly, correct me when I'm wrong, is that there were so many names, like family members' names and other names that weren't connected to this case, that they didn't want that came up and that's involved that would be disclosed if that IgG evidence is handed over to the defense. They didn't want those innocent people's names and information to be exposed to someone on the defense team, as if that was someone on the defense team that they had to worry about doing something, untoward with the names. You know what I mean? That was their initial argument. Now that Ann has the IgG evidence, the judge is giving her part of it. Let's not forget, she only has part of the IgG evidence because someone on Twitter said, no, she has the IgG. No. She doesn't have the IgG evidence. She has part of it. I'm going somewhere with this. So now all this time later, y'all still using that. You're trying to protect private citizens' information. Like if the defense get them, they're going to put them on some bombing lists. They're going to go over there and bomb their houses in the streets and the neighborhoods and stuff. And you're still trying to keep this evidence that Ann has now. You already got away with not giving all of it, but you're trying to keep the evidence that she has from part of her team that she's saying needs it. I said all that to say, man, listen, there's something going on with that IgG evidence. There's something going on with that IgG trail. There's something going on there that the state desperately wants to keep away from the defense, which tells me that they have problems with the IgG evidence, which obviously makes me question not only their investigation, but once again, we're back to the same old damn thing. Bryan's innocence or guilt. Why are y'all going so damn hard to protect what this lady, number one, can she even have the IgG evidence? And number two, now that she's gotten part of it, only partial, now you're trying to say, well, yeah, but we still want to control what you can do with it, which is understandable. And can't just take it and post it in every Taco Bell and Panera Bread and Starbucks and Walmart she sees. Obviously, she's not asking to do anything ludicrous or outrageous like that. My investigators, did your investigators look at this? All of the IgG evidence that you have, did your investigate? You should only be able to then use the IgG evidence. What Bill in the state uses to prosecute Bryan, and even in their arrest, they should only be able to use what they're allowed to hand over, what Ann is allowed to have. The state should only be able to use, we should be able to go back and look at their arrest and going forward in their prosecution and backdate it too. Let's post-date this too, their investigation. They should only be able to use and include the information that Ann is privy to as it pertains to not only the IGG evidence, but any damn evidence. Because there's no way in hell that y'all going this hard to keep a cap on this IGG evidence if y'all got this man dead to the right. It's crazy. It's crazy. You have nothing to fear if you got this man dead to the right. The only reason you have to be hesitant, the only reason you have to be fearful of going forward is because you know there's something hiding in the closet, there's some skeletons in the closet that you don't want this incredible ass defense attorney to uncover. That's what's going on here. And I think she's going to uncover it. I hope she does, because at the very least, she needs to be able to examine it. Whether it proves Bryan is, I mean, how can I not believe that it's going to prove he's innocent, or that's going to prove something nefarious is going on the state side, prosecution side, with how hard y'all are going to hide it from her. We need to see that IGG evidence. I want to see all of it, but obviously the judge has already ruled on that part. She can only get what she's gotten, at least up until now. But yeah, I think her investigators do need to have access to this evidence. And like I said, we're going to see how that plays out.
So putting aside that investigator and thinking of only our criminal investigators that are going to be dealing with our innocence phase of the case, those are the investigators that I'd like to have access. They're the investigators that participate in the meeting with our experts. They're the investigators that help us put the timeline together to understand different things that were happening in the case before Bryan's name was ever spoken by anybody. And we're missing that big piece about why was Bryan's name spoken and how. And we're missing that big piece about why was Bryan's name spoken and how.
The video ain't even started yet.
Put into a timeline so that we can try to understand how the state did its work in this case.
Well, one of the issues with this IGP is relevance at all. And so the way I'm viewing it is maybe it needs to go on steps, maybe where it's justified with the relevance or the potential of relevance for some of that information. Because from the very beginning, the state's position has been it has no bearing on the case. It will not have any bearing on the trial. But I allowed access to what I thought was potentially relevant.
It's just a little difficult for me to watch this charade go on, man. I don't know. Man, I'm already like 7-8 minutes in and I ain't even got to the video yet, bro. I figured it out though, man. You know, I always was like, what? I don't even know about the membership thing because I'm not really good with the formalities of life, man. You're supposed to do these things in these sections and sectors, and when you're over here, you're supposed to do this. I kind of just like being who I am. So I'm saying all that to say I signed, you know, I created the membership thing, and a couple of you guys have signed up. Shout out to you. But I never knew kind of like what to do with the tiers or whatnot. But long story short, I figured one thing out. There's a lot of editing that goes into these videos, and I usually just set the unreleased footage to the side. You remember when we used to watch DVDs and stuff, and they would have like the section where you could just see the unreleased footage. But for me, I usually set it to the side. What I'm gonna start doing with at least some of it, starting with this video, is I'm just gonna upload that to, you know, members only. So I'm not saying it's a oh my God, something you should just get excited about. But I'm just letting you know, man, that will be something that the members get. I'm not saying that to get your money. I'm just saying that because that's even, for me, I'm like, damn, I never could think of anything, and I finally thought of something. Because I do have 7 minutes, but I don't think it's going to make it in this video because I have a lot I want to say And I do want to keep it, you know what I mean, short, man. We talking about 25, 30 minutes, man. I don't like the longer videos. I kind of lose you guys. Probably rightfully so, because I just get to rambling and stuff. Getting old, man, is something I'm kind of aware of and insecure about a little, because I used to be able to speak so fluidly, and I just noticed the last couple of years I'm stumbling more and more over my words. It's never been something I have to deal with. Got the old man thinking, but guess what? I got notes, man. Shout out to you guys once again for watching the last couple of videos, man. I'm just articulating my thoughts, what I'm seeing when I'm watching these hearings, man. If you hear me say trials, I'm sorry. I just told you I stumbled over my words. Relax. This video may be a little longer. I'm already in my zone, man. Relax, just chill. Yeah, but I'm just giving my opinions, man. I want to reiterate again, I'm no lawyer, I'm no attorney, I'm no litigation expert on either side of the coin, prosecution or defense. I'm just watching things as a regular Joe, man, and like, this is my opinion. My opinion could be horribly wrong. A lot of things, man, in life you find out when you're missing context, you'll be done went way to the left with it. You know what I mean? If you just had that extra piece of information, it would have kept you from making a fool of yourself. So just want to tell you guys that. I'm not saying anything. I'm saying it's facts. I'm not saying it even makes sense considering, but I'm just saying, damn it, with all of the information I have, this is what I think about things. So you're welcome to go check out the last couple of videos, man. I talked about Bryan's, not the last hearing, but the hearing before that, and my thoughts about it. I'm not going to spoil any of it. But yeah, man, I like to hear you guys' feedback too. Now we're on the last hearing that he had, and we can talk about that because, you know, right now they don't have anything on the immediate horizon, right? So I think this video is going to be multiple parts too, at least two. So if you watch this, make sure you come back for the second one. Let's get to it, bro. You know, the first thing, man, I want to reiterate, I'm talking about the last hearing he had now, because should you go back and watch the other videos, those 3 videos are a culmination of my thoughts about the last, before the last. Okay, all right. You said that 1,000 times to get it. One of the first things that comes to my mind watching these hearings, right, as I watch the defense and the prosecution go back and forth, is I don't understand the desire to hide evidence. I don't, you know what I mean? Maybe I'm Mickey Morality here, right? I just made that up while I was talking. In my mind, if you're here for justice, right, and isn't that like what all of them are supposed, like, if you make it to that level, you can't be the bad guy. I mean, obviously there are bad men and women that make it to that level and higher, but theoretically, if you make it to that level, you can't be the bad guy. You have to be like, you got to be one of the good guys, one of the good women, right? You got to be. And with that in mind, why would you even attempt to hide any evidence? Like, if you have it and you know your evidence is good and it's saying what you're saying it's saying, it's saying what you're pursuing, what would be your motivation to hide any of that? I'm thinking this as I'm watching and still practically have to do it on my knees begging dance to get what she needs to defend her client. So that's the first thing that pops out to me. The second thing that pops out to me, because I'm watching this hearing on law and crime, I strolled through the comments. I can't remember what I was looking for, but like the first 3 comments I seen were all pro-Ann. Remember what hearing I'm talking about. I'm not going to say it again. They were all pro-Ann. Just give her the evidence, man. Let her give it, release it so her investigators can see. What's the problem? Like the first 3 comments, the tide is turning for the state and for the court in this case. Now, let me tell you guys something. I do have my notes. I'm reading off my notes. At times you're going to be able to tell that, but I'm going to try to make it not dull and monotonous. Now, the tide is turning for the state and the court. I'm saying that based on the first comments that popped up. If I would have been watching a very similar video, which they have, 3 or 4 months ago, on that same network or pretty much any network, all of the comments would have been anti-Ann, whatever her argument was, no matter how much sense it made, because everybody was more people were anti-Bryan back then. Now what I'm noticing, and I have been mentioning this in video after video, more people are just starting to see logically, you don't have to be an attorney, you don't have to have gone to law school and passed the bar. I mean, damn it, I know if the chips on the thing say 2 for $5, if I pick up 2 bags, depending on what state I'm in, maybe in South Carolina, no tax. I may be in Florida, high tax. $2 for $5, then I'm gonna have to pay the $5 flat, or I'm gonna have to pay $5 and probably around $5 and $5.50, somewhere in that range, right? I mean, it's just logical. So I need to have that amount of money when I get to the cash register. I don't need to be no damn mathematician to figure that out. I don't need to be one of these intelligent dudes that made it to the Guinness Book of World Records for math. I mean, it just makes sense if your brain isn't defunct in some way, out of your control. So it just makes sense. A lot of these things that are going on, that they start to look a little suspect when you sit back and watch them with unbiased eyes. So anyway, that's why I say for the court and for the state, because I'm still watching Judge. At times he seems extra reasonable, and then at times he just seems extra biased. But yeah, I do think that more and more, that's why I've been saying it if you've been watching all of the videos, I'm not even getting notifications anymore, guys. So if you're not getting notifications for my videos, it's YouTube being YouTube. It's not because I'm not making videos. So yeah, I just noticed that the tide is turning, and that's why I've also been saying from the beginning, I am so glad that this case, hopefully, unless Ann has a better master plan, will ultimately go to a jury, because I think that is Bryan's best chance, because more and more people are saying, hey man, I need to think about this with an open mind and actually pursue justice in my assessment of this case, and not just rage think. The next thing, am I the only one who remembers Judge saying he doesn't know anything about IGG? I mean, maybe I'm tripping. I distinctly remember, I can't remember, I wish I did, but I distinctly remember one of those hearings about 2 or 3 hearings ago, maybe 3 or 4. They were discussing the IGG thing, and Judge was like, well, I don't really understand these things either. You know what I mean? I have to take time and sit down and delve into them myself. I mean, am I tripping? Do I need to go back and find that clip, or one of you? Come on, man. I'm not the only one who remembers that, right? Some of you have been watching all of the hearings like me, right? He said, I basically don't know anything about this. I am learning right now. Like, this is my first real life experience with this stuff, and I'm learning just like everybody else is, pretty much on the fly. I'm going to come back to this, Lord willing, to say this many times in this video, and the reason is because he did. Not that he was a straight novice. Isn't that the word? Like, I'm just a rookie here. I don't know anything. Haze me. He didn't say that several times. He only said that, I remember, in one hearing. In this hearing, he intimated multiple times over and over again that suddenly he went from being completely ignorant of what IGG was to expert enough to be able to tell Ann and the court and the watching world and the man that they're trying to kill what is relevant IGG information for the defense, or what is it. That blew me away. I want to say that shortly because I took a lot of words to say at that time. A couple of weeks ago, months at best, Judge told us he don't know a damn thing about IGG evidence, sitting in that same chair in that same courtroom, unless he switched courtrooms. He damn sure said it. A few months later, he is expert enough in IGG evidence to be sitting in that seat telling Ann what is and what isn't relevant IGG evidence for her as she prepares a capital punishment defense for her client. Sir, it makes no logical sense to me. I knew the chips were $2 for $5. Why? I knew I didn't have 50 cents in my pocket. Why the hell did I go to the counter with them? It makes no sense, sir. There's no damn way. Maybe I'm tripping here. Maybe IGG, they said it's a new concept and stuff. Investigator, genealogy, whatever, man. I forgot already. Listen, maybe it is because it's so new, there's such a small amount of information to learn about it that you can't be an expert in a couple of months. I'm sorry, sir. I don't believe your ass. I don't. So there's multiple times in this hearing where you don't intimate a damn thing. Why I keep using that word? You directly say it. But IGG evidence ain't this. The IGG said, you told Ann, I allowed you to have what I determined was needed. Now, I'm not going to pretend you don't have any leeway there. You're a judge. So you would look at legal things and see something that our blind eyes wouldn't see, because not only, is your passion probably in that direction, your education definitely is. So you know these things a little better than the average Joe. You know what I mean? There's more than meets the eye when it comes to you and this litigation stuff. I'm not taking that from you, sir, but I don't give a damn. You can't expect me to believe that you literally said this is a science. How good it is or bad it is, I don't know. But is it going to be difficult for me to believe that in a few months you have suddenly become an expert when a few months ago you were ignorant of it? We're going to talk about that. I'm lingering too long, man. Anyway, so from the beginning, the state's position has been that the IGG evidence has no bearing on the case. I allowed what was relevant. I'm sorry, I told you you're going to be able to tell I'm reading from my notes. I'm going in order. That was a note I made about what I just went over. That's something else he kept saying, though, in connection with him saying that, hey, suddenly I'm expert enough to tell you and what's relevant and what's not as it pertains to this IGG evidence. I'm going to keep saying that because you have to realize how at least possibly silly this sounds, that you we went from novice to expert in a few months and something so intricate. I got to keep saying it. Anyway, the other part of his argument that he connected to that is this right here. Well, the state has said from the beginning that this evidence has nothing to do with the case. It has nothing to do with the arrest. It has nothing to do with the warrants that were obtained, and it will have nothing to do with the prosecution of Bryan. Let me say that again. Because I was watching the trial today. It actually was the Young Thug's trial, and I have a note about that in here. And the state was telling, the court, and I always like to mention watching eyes too, because we're potential jury pools. They want us to believe these things too. The state is telling the court, hey man, the judge has tossed out a recording because the suspect was speaking with the detectives, and then he suddenly said, I want to speak with my lawyer. I don't want to talk anymore. Then they took him outside for 45 minutes, gave him a cigarette, came back in, and they kept talking to him. And then their argument, the state's argument, the detective's argument is, when we went outside, he decided he wanted to start back talking to us. So we came in and kept talking to him. And the judge is saying, nope. I don't know what the hell y'all did when y'all went outside to sweeten him up or whatever. But he literally said he don't want to talk anymore. He needs his attorney. It's over with. I don't give a damn what was said after that. I don't care how that played out. It's over with from that moment. The state was saying, hey, judge, we have proof that this man was the one who reinitiated the conversation with the detectives. I want to tell y'all what her proof was and how that ties into this case right here. Her proof was that the detective that was interrogating this suspect, that took him outside and gave him a cigarette and stuff after he said he wanted his attorney, he was going to come in and sit on the stand and say, hey, judge, yeah, when we was out there, he did tell me he wanted to talk. Very necessary, exaggerated pause. What the hell do you expect the detective prosecuting this man to say?
Ain't no damn proof. That's him running the players team code.
He's on your side. That's not proof. That's his account of what happened. Just like this damn PCA, probable cause affidavit. A lot of us still have, I think if you're in your right mind, you still got questions about it. And I know I'm not crazy because Ann, and I forgot to put it in the last video, stood up in court and said, me and my entire team has gone over this multiple times, Judge. This was like 3 weeks ago when she said this, for its best. We still don't see how it leads to Bryan. If you're a regular watcher of my videos, you might remember when I said that too. I said this on Twitter too, I think, man. I don't even see how the PCA led to an arrest. And I'm going to be honest, I'm exaggerating a little bit right there. Obviously, what we see in the PCA could possibly lead to arrest in a rational mind. But where we stand right now in the prosecution, I definitely don't necessarily see how it got this far. And so when I hear Ann say something like that too, it just lets me know I'm not as crazy as I am. I just wanted to say all that to say, like the state in Young Thug's trial saying, hey man, we're going to bring you proof. That lady said it for like 30 minutes. I'm not exaggerating. Judge, we're going to bring you proof that this defendant, the suspect, was the one who reinitiated the conversation. And the proof is going to be that the detective interrogating him is going to say when they were outside, he told him that he wanted to speak again. What else do we expect the detective to say? So, Judge, when you keep telling us that the state, I'm sorry, guys, I don't want to lose anybody here, but you saying the state is telling us that the IGG evidence isn't relevant and was never relevant and was never used and won't be used and wasn't used. Sir, what the hell do you expect the state to say? In the last hearing, homie, I got to hurry up. I got a lot of notes and I'm already past the 15-minute mark with just my audio, not the intro and the outro. But, sir, do you remember asking, is there anything you can do to help? And I said, yes, man, just be at the damn trial. Why are you, as a tenured judge, you ain't even no damn lawyer, you a judge, sir. I should know how long you been one. Why are you sitting up there telling us the state is saying this and so we should take their word for it when they're trying to kill this man? Negro, I don't trust you, them, Nobody, I damn near still deciding if I trust my attorney. I don't give a damn how good she is. Why in the hell would I take their word for whatever they got going on the right side without even examining? I don't even want to examine it. Oh yeah, they trying to kill me, but they said, don't worry about this. Here, I give you this. Look at this. Man, you done lost your damn mind, man. You cannot underestimate how much people have lost their damn mind. I got to get through this stuff, man. It makes no sense. Don't keep telling us that the state has said from the beginning, because I asked them, did this have anything to do with the warrant? And they're going to say, no. What do you expect them to say? A good faith? Ain't no good faith when you try to take my damn life. I don't give a damn how much you think they got credibility because of the position they hold and they saying it in court under oath and all this foolishness, man. No, sir. The state saying it ain't good enough. And Ann is going to make this point later on. Just in case I forget to say it, I'm going to say it right here. She's saying, I'm not even saying that I want to investigate this stuff, and when I investigate it and my team look it over, it has to make it to trial. No, I just want to be able to consider it in my defense of a man y'all trying to kill, the same way the state and their team, entire team, not part of their team, was able to consider it in their prosecution that's leading them to try to kill this man. It just makes sense. The chips are 2 for $5. If I got it, I can get it. If I don't, I can't. Unless I'm finna steal, which is what they trying to do. They're trying to break the law. They're trying to pervert justice. They're trying to go around it like you do when you try to steal something. You're not supposed to do that if you're here for justice. Y'all crazy as hell, man. The judge's other objection to Ann's investigators' access, because this is what's going on here, guys. If you didn't watch the hearing, I suggest you do. Ann is saying, hey, man, at first, she needed her experts and her investigators to be able to look over the limited amount of IgG evidence that the judge, who's suddenly an expert on IgG evidence in his education, said he allowed her to have. So this is what the expert judge in IgG evidence, handed over to her. Shout out Gabby V, man. Y'all remember her? I do. And out of that evidence, now they're trying to tell her she has to ask them for permission who on her team can look at it. So it was the experts and the investigators. Okay, they said the experts, cool, we good on that. Hold on to the investigators. Not a big deal, though, because the state said hold on to the investigators because the investigators weren't named in Ann's request, in her order, right? Not a big deal. Ann said, I'll tell you who they are. They've been with us the whole time. Y'all already know them. They worked on some other things. Y'all are well aware of these people. I'll put the names in there. That's no big deal. So that's what Ann wants. Ann wants her investigators to have access to this evidence that she has, the limited evidence, so they can help her, they can assist her, her team, and the experts that they hired, they're working with in their defense of Bryan and preparing the defense, right? Ultimately, I will give you a spoiler and say that I agree with the judge and his decision partially. I ain't gonna lie, man. I ran out of time. I told y'all this video would be out at 9:30. It's 8:54 now, so it's probably gonna be like 10 at best. I could do it, but hell, most of y'all ain't gonna watch it if you watch it until later. Anyway, man, remember, check back for part 2. We are by far not done. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna talk about this more. We gotta finish this. Lord willing, we gotta get to these other issues we're talking about. I'm gonna try to have part 2 out tomorrow at the latest Tuesday, Lord willing. Also, man, check the, if you're a member, I ain't trying to get you to be a member, but I'm just trying to tell you if you are, I promise you, there's no manipulation here. In the next couple of days, just start checking the member page or whatever, man. I am going to put those clips, the deleted clips that don't make it into these videos up there. You know, if you want to check them out, you can. If not, just some extra thoughts I be having that I always cut from the video, man. Part 2, do not forget, this is part 1. Part 2, we will be back, man. Shout out to y'all for watching the video. Be safe. Innocent until, hey, right here. You know what I mean? Just based on what I can see from over here, this small little invaluable peripheral that y'all gave me. I already see something in there. So I'm pretty sure my investigators and my full team is able to go over these things. There's a chance we may find things that are valuable to us. But even in that, I'm just asking for an opportunity to peruse these things the same way that these people who are trying to murder my client has had full access to all of it. I just want full access to the little bit that you gave me. I'm already handicapped here. What are we talking about? And so, I don't know. It goes back to the stupid analogy I keep using about the chips. I don't know why some of these things are things that we have to sit down and think about. And in my mind, it goes back to what I said already again, that this case is turning because regular normal Joe and normal Josephet, you know, the girl name there, eyes are watching, and we just saying like some of this stuff doesn't make sense. I refer back to the comments. They were literally saying, bro, why don't you just give her damn this is what I got them in there, right? Then I put the screenshots in there. You seen them? I got it in my notes. Make sure you put that in the video. Why don't you just give her investigators access to the damn information? You already gave her all of it as is.